If there's one thing I've learned, it's that a man's silence speaks louder than any scream. And it's not passive silence. It's not the guy who swallows everything. It's the cold, calculated silence that comes after you finally understood your worth. When you stop reacting, stop chasing, stop trying to explain yourself to someone who's already decided to ignore you. That silence burns. Because it's not just the absence of words, it's the presence of power. By the end of this video, you'll understand why a man's silence is the loudest sound a woman can hear and how it forever changes the game of attraction. There's a moment when she stops responding with excitement. Her messages turn cold. Her replies get dry. You feel like you're a burden just for existing. And what do most guys do? They try to fill the silence with words, blow up her phone with texts, apologies, desperate compliments. They think more presence will fix her absence. But what you don't realize is, while you're trying to fill the void with emotional effort, she's testing your lack of control. Her silence isn't just disinterest, it's a psychological battlefield. And the only response that truly cuts deep is silence in return. Because the moment you go quiet, not out of fear, but out of self-respect, she feels it. She feels the power shift. She feels you're no longer trying to prove anything. She feels the echo of the space you left behind. They say communication is key, that you need to talk, be vulnerable, express your feelings. But here's the brutal truth. You're not dealing with a therapist. You're dealing with instinct. And female instinct doesn't respond to logic. It responds to energy, to the sense of loss, to the sudden fear that the man who was always available no longer is. You think conversation brings her back, but absence creates doubt, and doubt sparks attraction. The man who goes silent at the right moment, not out of avoidance, but out of decision, is the man who plants restlessness in her mind. Because real silence carries an unspoken message. I don't need to convince you. I'm at peace with your choice. And when you show you're willing to walk away in silence, you make the loudest noise possible inside the mind of someone who underestimated you. I still remember sitting in the car. She got out, slammed the door without looking back. No fight, no tears. Just that cruel silence that happens when everything's been said without a single word. My first instinct was to chase, to text, to explain. But something in me froze. An inner voice, dry, brutal, whispered, if she wanted to hear you, she would have stayed. So I closed the app, put the phone down, and went on with my life. That night, the silence cut like a blade, but it cut her more than it cut me. Because the man who goes silent isn't hiding, he's taking control. He refuses to beg for space in a place where he's already been devalued. And her, she didn't expect that. She expected drama, long texts, desperation. She didn't expect coldness. She didn't expect indifference. And that's when the game flips. Because she needs your reaction to feel in control. And you gave her the exact opposite, nothing. Women are sensory beings. They're not drawn only by what you say, but by what you make them feel, especially in your absence. When you disappear with class, with purpose, she feels the void that was once filled by your constant presence. And that void becomes a mirror. It shows her who you really were. That's when her mind starts turning against her. Why did he stop talking to me? Did he meet someone else? Did I push him too far? Did I lose him for good? And then the magic happens. You stopped running, and she started walking your way. Because silence isn't just lack of noise. It's a presence of value. You only gain the strength to go silent when you realize you don't need to prove anything, that the respect you wanted from her actually begins with the respect you have for yourself. Step 1. Stop justifying your silence. You owe no explanations when you're protecting your peace. You walk away because you chose yourself, not because you're seeking attention. Step 2. Use silence as a strategy, not as punishment. She doesn't need to suffer. She just needs to feel that you can stay quiet without imploding. That self-control is magnetic because scarcity creates value. Step 3. Turn absence into authority. While other men are begging for a reply, you're building your life. True silence is filled with purpose, training, focus, mission, and she notices, even without words. She feels she's lost access to something money can't buy. And you finally understood the secret. Silence is dominance. Dominance over your impulses. Dominance over your emotions. Dominance over the game. Male silence is like a door slowly closing. She hears every creak, and in that final moment, when all goes quiet, she realizes you might never open that door again, and that destroys her more than any angry speech ever could. Because while she fed off your desperation, she felt in control. But when you disappear, not blocked, not with hate, but with silent indifference, you become a mystery. And mystery is the birthplace of obsession. She starts replaying everything, every word, every gesture, every mistake she made, not because you shouted, but because you went quiet. And right there she understands. The silence of a man who knows himself is a sentence. It's the most violent response she could ever receive without you saying a single word. You don't need to shout. You don't need to convince. You just need to walk away from the table when you realize you're being served crumbs. The world says a silent man is weak, but only because they've never seen the damage a well-placed silence can do. Men who understand this stop begging. They stop chasing. They no longer try to be heard. They simply become unreachable. And when you become unreachable, you don't have to say a thing. She feels everything. Because in the end, you don't win her back by talking. You win her back the moment you never need to say anything again.